the Indiana Fever's future has never felt so promising, or so fragile. Everything this franchise hopes to achieve rests on the shoulders of Caitlin Clark, a once-in-a-generation talent who has transformed the team's relevance overnight. She's brought international attention, sold-out arenas, and a surge of excitement the WNBA hasn't seen in years. Yet, judging by recent events, it's hard to shake the feeling that some in the Fever's leadership don't fully grasp just how much of their success depends on her. It all started with what should have been an ordinary press conference. Fever President Kelly Kroskoff was asked about the team's vision going forward. In her answer, she compared the Indiana Fever to Apple, calling it a brand that should be enduring, recognizable, and built for the long haul. On the surface, it sounded like typical executive talk, a polished corporate metaphor meant to inspire confidence. But to fans, it landed differently. It sounded like a downplay of Caitlin Clark's influence, framing her as just one piece of a bigger machine rather than the driving force behind the Fever's sudden rise. For a rookie who has brought more media coverage and fan engagement than the WNBA has seen in years, that framing felt tone-deaf. Fans weren't imagining the spike in ticket sales, the packed arenas, the record-breaking TV ratings. Clark is the reason for it. By centering the brand over the player, Kroskoff seemed to be missing the point entirely. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Within hours, the clip was circulating across social media, generating heated debate among fans and analysts. Some called it a misstep, others saw it as outright disrespect. And then came the move that poured gasoline on the fire. Kroskoff's X, formerly Twitter, account vanished. No clarification, no apology, no attempt to engage with the concerns. Just silence. If the goal was to let the controversy fade, it backfired badly. Longtime Fever supporters, fans who stuck with the team through losing seasons, felt blindsided. Clark's arrival had revitalized the franchise, reignited national interest, and put Indiana in the spotlight. But when the moment came for the front office to stand firmly behind their star, they went quiet. The deleted account wasn't seen as strategic. It was seen as running from accountability. This wasn't happening in a vacuum. Tensions had already been simmering over Clark's treatment on the court. Game after game, she's endured hard fouls, elbows to the face, shoulder checks, body collisions, without proper calls from officials. In some cases, referees ignored blatant contact entirely. Fans had been grumbling for weeks that the league and the Fever weren't doing enough to protect their most marketable player. Kroskoff's comments didn't just feel disconnected. They felt like confirmation that leadership didn't value Clark as much as the fans did. Then Sophie Cunningham stepped into the spotlight. The Fever forward launched the first episode of her new podcast, Show Me Something, and wasted no time addressing the elephant in the room. Without naming Kroskoff directly, she made it clear that the problem wasn't just opposing players or referees, it was internal. She spoke about the repeated fouls Clark has absorbed without adequate protection and the lack of public backing from the organization's leadership. Cunningham's message was sharp. If leadership won't protect their star, her teammates will. She reminded listeners that she's stepped in before, referencing an ejection she took after delivering a hard foul in defense of Clark following a hit to the face. "I protect my teammates. That's what I do," she said. Fans rallied behind her immediately, praising her for voicing what so many were thinking, that the Fever were mishandling the most important player to ever wear their jersey. It didn't take long for reports to surface that Cunningham's comments weren't spontaneous. Sources close to the team suggested the episode was recorded shortly after Kroskoff's Apple comparison and was intended as a direct response. What seemed like raw frustration was actually a calculated stand, a signal from within the locker room that the disconnect between players and leadership had reached breaking point. Now insiders say the Fever locker room is split. On one side are players and staff who fully embrace Clark's role as the face of the franchise, believing everything the team does should center on her impact. On the other side is leadership, clinging to a broader, long-term branding vision that treats Clark as just one of several foundational pieces. The divide is no longer subtle. It's shaping the way the team is perceived inside and outside the WNBA. Meanwhile, on the court, the problems persist. On May 24th against the New York Liberty, Clark was slammed by Natasha Cloud in what appeared to be a textbook offensive foul. Cameras caught the hit clearly. The refs? No whistle, no review, nothing. Clark stood there, arms out in disbelief. In the NBA, a foul like that on a top rookie or franchise player would have sparked an immediate reaction. possibly even a fine or suspension. In the WNBA, Clark was expected to play on as though nothing had happened. Fans aren't blind to the double standard. Neither are commentators. National broadcasts are starting to openly question why Clark is being officiated differently, and why the league isn't doing more to protect the player driving so much of its current popularity. Coaches, too, are weighing in. Fever head coach Stephanie White has acknowledged that everything the team does now is under the microscope, and she's hinted that the scrutiny is justified. Even opposing coaches have admitted Clark faces unique pressures, both physically and mentally, compared to most rookies. All of this feeds into one unavoidable truth: Clark isn't just part of the Fever brand, she is the Fever brand. She's the reason arenas are full, why merchandise is selling out, and why the WNBA is experiencing a surge in coverage. Downplaying that reality in favor of vague corporate branding strategies isn't just misguided, it's dangerous. Fans have made it clear where their loyalty lies, and it's not with executives who seem more concerned with abstract brand building than with supporting the player making the brand matter in the first place. Right now, the Fever are at a crossroads. They can either embrace the reality that Clark is the heartbeat of the franchise and rally around her, or they can continue down this path of hesitation, silence, and corporate doublespeak, risking the trust of the fanbase they've finally won back. The deleted social media account, the player podcast callouts, the missed foul calls, these aren't isolated incidents. They're symptoms of an organization in conflict, caught between old-school branding ideals and the new reality of having a global superstar in their locker room. Caitlin Clark isn't asking for special favors. She's earning every headline, every sold-out ticket, every highlight reel. The question is whether the people in charge are smart enough and bold enough to capitalize on it. Because if they're not, the Fever won't just lose games. They'll lose something far more valuable: the trust and passion of the fans who made this moment possible. And once that's gone, no Apple-level brand is going to bring it back.